Hello, welcome to the Unsung Sheroes Show. My name is Irma Wilson. I am a life coach. I help people take leaps into their lives. Um, this show was created to bring an array of women with different backgrounds from all walks of life to use their experiences to teach others. That's my way of coaching. Today's guest was a colleague of mine. We became friends. I met her at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. We worked as a manager. She is a daughter, a mother, a sister, a divorcee, friend, homeowner. She reinvents herself so many times. She lets nothing get in her way. She is now a dynamite realtor. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome my guest, Madalyn Eleby.
Hi.
Welcome, my sister.
Thank you, Irma. Thank you.
Thank you so much for saying yes. Thank you. As you can tell, believe it or not, I respect you so much. I think so highly of you. Your spirit really kept me going, even though you were the annoying little sister.
That's a good one.
But your spirit really kept me going, and you have no idea how much you touched my life. Let me start with the first question.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You were also almost all the time so driven. I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm going to school, I'm taking this course, I'm always. I guess I want to know, where do you get your spunk, your confidence, your spice, your strength in all your femininity? You put on some lipstick and put on these pink shoes and but strong. I watched you prepare a new career while we were working together, because you didn't want to leave it to chances. You played the biggest instrument in high school.
Yes, that's
that
correct.
was the bass. That takes confidence to do that. You were the youngest of all the managers there, and there was a lot of us, about 30 of us.
30 of us, yes.
And you could hold your own, like I said before. You never allowed anybody to bully you.
No.
How do you do? What drives you?
Well, we can start by, we'll talk about CHOP.
Okay.
So the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. I was working over at Roxborough as a manager previously before I started at CHOP. And my boss at that time had hired me for an upper management position. And then he decided to give it to one of the gentlemen that worked there and told me, he didn't really mean to hire me for that position, because now the guy who was in my position decided he wanted the job as the manager. So I said, okay. And I said, that's fine, but I won't be here long. So I spent like every day at that particular job applying for CHOP. I must have sent those people 20 applications, to the point where Human Resources sent me a letter in the mail that said, hey, we got your application. So coming to CHOP was like a dream for me, because one, it took me out of a position where I was basically being discriminated against being a female, and I had small children. I couldn't be bullied. I couldn't be ran out. I needed that paycheck to take care of my kids. So there I stood with all of these very strong women who really, I won't say they had it out for me, but they had it out for me.
I think they thought that because you were so young, they can just tell you to sit down somewhere.
Yeah,
I hope I wasn't one of them.
I don't know. Remember orientation? When I was looking out the window and you were like, I should just push you out that window. I don't know what I was doing that day. But I mean, when I look back on it, I was 28. So of course I was significantly almost like 10 or 15 years younger than most of the people who were there, and they saw me like their child. So they didn't really respect my opinion. So I knew I had to be better, be stronger, be faster, than everybody else in a position just to win over everyone's respect. It just was not up for, discussion. I had to do it.
But I don't remember you being angry. You're always laughing and giggling.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's a show, you come in every day, you have your work family, and then you have your home life. So when you take your coat off, now you're on
You
stage.
at work.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, hi. And then the nicer you are to people, the
But
meaner they are anyway.
Somebody had to put something in you to allow you to be able to do that, because not everybody can do that. You
Yeah.
can tell people they can handle the corporate world. They can handle what's out there for women.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, my mom always said it's better for them to treat you bad than for you to treat them bad. So, that's just kind of how I go throughout my life. Not that I'm perfect or anything, and I don't have any moments where I'm like, wow, I wish I wouldn't have said that, or I wish I wouldn't have did that. But honestly, I really just try to treat people with respect and the way I really want them to treat me.
Very nice. This is why she's an unsung sheroes, okay? Talking about your mom, I know how your mom was a driven force in your life.
Wow, yes.
I know how devastated you were
Yes, you do.
when you lost your mom.
Yes, you do.
How do you cope? How do you cope without her in your life?
My mom set my sister, my brother, and I up for success. Before she passed away, she told us she gave us everything that we needed, and we were going to be okay. As I go through my days, I really think about what she would do and what she would say and how she would feel about how I was living my life, and that's kind of how I do it. But it's
Even in her
very
death,
hard.
she's very strong.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. She's very influential with all of us, because I'll be like, mom wouldn't want you to be doing that. And my brother will be like, or we'll think about things that she said, down to, I just remodeled my kitchen. And the contractor was asking me, do I want white grout or gray grout? And I was like, well, my mama would have said it'd be gray later anyway, so you might as well go with the white. And he was like, yeah. I was like, My mom said it'll turn gray later. Over a period of time, everything gets old and then you have to revamp. So let's start with the white now.
White.
We'll work our way towards the gray, So yeah, she definitely influenced everything we do, even till this day, even in regards to how I treat people now. Yeah.
Very nice. That's good to hear. I remember attending her service. I remember when you called us when you were at the hospital.
Yeah, you were it. So you, like I said before, you have your family and then you have your work family, and CHOP was like, we were together so long and so much. We were family.
Yeah.
And no one else was there. And I was like, Irma and Juanita are next door, and everybody came to my aid as I was by myself when I watched my mom pass away. You guys were there before my family got there.
Yeah.
So especially you.
I remember you were falling in my arm. I don't know how I got up.
I was so glad to see you, because the doctors were literally probably getting ready to commit me. Remember, I was like mopping the floor from one side to the other. And then when you got there, it was like a great relief, because I had someone there to support me. Shortly after family came, but you, Juanita, Twala, the rest of Karen, everyone was there before.
And I went home and I said, I cannot imagine losing my mother so young.
Yes.
And I wept and I cried and I cried. And I cried for you. I don't know if I had the right words to say. I don't know, but I knew how tight you were. You guys traveled together. You guys,
yeah.
That was a moment.
Yeah, it was a moment.
Do you remember when I went to your house to check on you, and we were talking about mac and cheese. We were talking, and then there was a pile of mail. I said, oh, Madalyn, you have all these cards. She said, I don't want anybody to send me another mother effing card.
I meant that from my core. And they was like, it's money in the cards. I don't care how much money was in those cards. You could have flushed that in the toilet. Because it was just a constant reminder that I lost my mom. Like, here's a card. I'm sorry. Like, what the? Can I say what the hell? What the hell is this?
Yes, you
I
can.
don't want your stinking card. I want my mom.
And as usual, our chat family, we will collect money and we have a new card. And then I went back to the office. I said, I went to see Maddie, and she said, somebody said, I need to go get a card. I said, don't get a card.
No.
Do not get a card.
No.
Do not send a card. They looked at me, what?
Yeah.
Don't send a card to Maddie, okay?
I think we all have our triggers in life, and we don't know what they're going to be until we start to go through. And when we start to go through things, then whatever that is, that card for me symbolized a great loss. Because so many times I have brought cards for people when you go and you look and you want to try to say something, you want to write. And I just kind of felt people giving me that same thing, and I just hated it so much. I talked about that in therapy.
That's good.
Do not give me a card.
That's good. I'm glad you hear that you do therapy, because you know that's taboo in our community.
Yeah, absolutely. We just call our friends and talk.
And talk over wine. Let's drink to that.
Absolutely. Yeah, but I did talk about it in therapy, and he put his card to the side.
Okay. But that was a moment. I think that's when I was allowed to be there for you, because you always seem so strong, going. When I'm upset about something, here you go giggling away, and I'm like, oh my God, this giggle.
Madalyn Eleby.
I see that you are hosting Thanksgiving dinner this year.
Yeah.
In your newly renovated, beautiful kitchen.
Yeah.
So would you consider yourself as the matriarch of your family right now?
I don't want to say that, but I mean, I don't know. A lot of things happen in my home with my family and friends.
So even if you don't say it,
yeah, but it's a lot of stress. Like,
well, don't even think about it that way. But this is
my cousin was there last night to drop off stuff, and she's like, I'm here to drop off everything you may need, anything. I'm like, I'm having Thanksgiving dinner. Now, mind you, this is not my first time. I generally host Christmas, and my sister does Thanksgiving, but she asked me to do Thanksgiving and Christmas this year. So I was just like, oh, okay. And they're like, do you have food yet? I'm like, no, but my mom always said, it'll all come together. And it'll all start to come together a little bit at a time. But yeah, a lot of things do happen around my house. Yeah, it does.
Yeah, and you have a beautiful home. I'm glad to hear that you didn't leave, you didn't let your mom's dreams and your mom unity, family togetherness go away, and you took charge, even though you're not the oldest.
No, I'm not.
Yet you keep it going.
I do try to keep it going. I definitely cook most days on the week. I have family. They stop by. Girl with the kitchen make you cook. Okay? Like, I'm Googling recipes. Yeah, the kitchen make you cook. So everyone comes over. They usually are eating at my house like 2 or 3 times a week. My dad, my sister, my brother, friends, cousins, so. But it's fun to have everybody nearby and be able to come by and hang out with you.
I'm sure. And your mom is probably smiling.
I hope so. I really do. Or she may, look, my mom is in heaven. She may not be paying no attention to none of us.
That's Madalyn, everybody. Not too long ago, I was on Facebook scrolling by looking for the next crazy things to come out of your mouth. And then you had a whole side of your face with the discoloration in your neck. When I knew you, I didn't know you like that.
No, I was not born like this.
And then you said, I woke up like this with this bright smile. And
yeah, I did.
And I'm like, what do you mean you wake up like this? And she's smiling. Of course, I picked up the phone and called and said, what is going on with you?
Yeah, I wasn't born with vitiligo, so I do have vitiligo. Literally, what's this, 2021? So the beginning of 2021, we were in Vegas, my sister and I and my girlfriends, and you know, we like Vegas. We're ready to party and drink and enjoy our life. But that one morning I was getting dressed and I was taking a shower and I had my hair pinned up. And my sister, she was like, you have this like white spot on the back of your neck. And I'm like, really? So like she take a picture of it. I'm like, what's going on? And I just didn't know what was going on. So I started to go to the dermatologist, and then they were saying, they weren't really sure what it was. So they did a biopsy, and then eventually they said it was vitiligo. But within that 30-day period of going back and forth to the dermatologist, my front of my neck had changed colors, my entire forehead had changed colors, and it was just happening so fast. I was like really devastated. I was like trying to put makeup on it. And you know me, like I love to wear makeup, but it was just becoming a process. You know, I used to do my makeup in the car, right before we went to work. It wasn't like, I'm not a YouTuber makeup type of person. I'm like, get some foundation on, some lips, and call it a day. So I was trying to cover it up. I was really sad, not knowing what was going on. And then I had helped Juanita sell her house, and she wanted to invite me out with everybody at CHOP and, you know, to congratulate. I think Miss Mary must have been retiring, or somebody was retiring. I was like, oh, well, I definitely don't want to walk in and, you know, have to have a conversation about it. So I need to post it, right? So I got myself together and I went ahead and posted it. And everybody was like, thought it was a joke. Like people were calling me like, why are you always playing? I'm like, I ain't playing. I got vitiligo. They're like, really? And that's kind of
So how does that come about? There's something that triggers it.
I don't know. Honestly, I think, okay, disclaimer, my doctors don't believe this, but I think it was the IUD I had placed. I think we're born with everything that we have. God give us everything that we need. It's all inside of us. So I think whatever I had, DNA patterns, genetic patterns, probably was there, and something triggered it, and what I believe was the IUD that was placed. Yeah.
You told me when it first started, because you still have beautiful skin. You were so into your skin, your smile, you bleaching your teeth.
Girl. Yes.
So I think somebody called you Miss Madalyn.
Whatever. My best friend been calling me that since we were 14, so okay. And
so to see that, I'm like, that must have been very devastating for her, but she's laughing about it. And then when I talked to you, you said, girl, I done cry about it, and then you shave your head to really see what was going on.
Absolutely. Like, because what happened was, I was devastated. I didn't know what to do, and my entire scalp was white. Everything from here on down was white. With the treatment, you can't see my forehead anymore. That's another conversation, because I need to decide how long I'm going to do this, because they're saying it's like a lifetime situation, which we know I'm not doing anything for a lifetime. But I did. I scalped my head bald, and then I'm the worst person to wear a wig. So then my wig was on my car seat, and then my friends was like, they like, did you just take your wig off? I said, yeah, girl, you already know I'm bald anyway, and it's hot. Yeah. And I was like, I used to pick it up and shake it off. They used to be so done with me. They were so tired of me. But yeah, I wore wigs for a little while, and then my hair started growing immediately. So I was able to, you know, soul weave in, and then eventually I'll probably be able to wear my hair again. But yeah, that wig lived on my passenger side, and then I would pick it up, shake it off, go on my little listening appointments. Nobody knew though. Everybody just assumed everything was okay, but I mean, I really wasn't okay. I mean, some days I'm not okay now, but I don't want to climb under a rock. Like, it's just so much better not to dig a hole. If you dig a hole for yourself,
you're gonna stay in it.
Man, you know how hard it is to get out of a hole. So I'm gonna say I stay on the surface. Just stay on the surface. Never dig a hole.
Stuff.
Never dig a hole for your emotions, because you will never come out of that hole.
And this is why I don't think do you remember this? You remember you gave me this?
I gave you that, and I think like 4 other people. I must have ordered a lot of them.
This is God's creative power.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I read the Bible before, and I read the Bible all the time. But when you gave me this little book, I started understanding. I don't think you realize what impact you have on my faith today.
Wow.
I highlighted things in the book.
That's a powerful book, man.
That's a powerful book. This book lets me know, and I've heard these things. Maybe I was ready to receive it because I did the same thing that you did. I bought a whole bunch.
Yeah.
I bought a whole bunch and gave it to everybody that I know.
Once you are ready to receive some of the stuff that's in there. But sometimes you put it away. Like my book is probably in my drawer and I haven't read it in a little while. And then when you had it out, I said, I was reading that book right there.
At the time I was doing the train thing. I would be sitting on the train and reading that book. And it says, and I can see where your wording, and you used to always say that to me, what you speak out, there's a bunch of wisdom back there, behind the giggles. She said, stop speaking defeat.
Call those things that be not as though they were.
Yes.
Like, don't talk defeat on yourself.
Yes, and I think it changed my life.
Yeah.
When I read in the book, and I've heard it before, like I said, I read in the book that everything God says, everything he does, before he even do it, he speaks it.
Yes.
It rang in my ear like, oh my God, this is powerful. So behind all this, there's a spirituality behind it. There's a force.
Yeah. That book is powerful. That book got me through a lot of things. And like I said, I haven't read it in a while. And when I saw it in your chair, I said, oh, Lord, that book will save your life.
It did.
It really will. And even if you only focus on like the first like 5 or 6 pages and just stay in those passages, it will change you.
It has a chapter for your finances. Yep. It has a chapter for healing. And then it touches on everything.
Yeah.
Arthritis, heart disease. I'm like, oh my God. So just like your medicine, this book can.
Yeah,
it just takes clips of the
you.
Bible and then they put it together. It comes out so beautifully, really summarize all that we need to live our life on a daily basis.
I agree with that 100%. My mom got that book from, oh my gosh, I can't remember.
I know it had to come from your mother.
Of course it came from my mother. Of course, it came from her, and I would have to call you to remember where she got that from.
Well, I got it on Amazon for everybody I know. But
that's where I got it for you guys.
Yeah.
I got it for you guys on Amazon.
That's true.
And then I brought a couple for other people as well. I don't know, why was I in the mood where I was buying? I was preparing to leave, and I said I was leaving y'all. And remember when I was preparing to leave Chop, I made that collage of everything I wanted and where I wanted to be. And he was like, you didn't do any work today. I was like, nope, I planned my life. I think I was preparing to leave.
And I ended up leaving before you.
Yeah, you did.
Yes.
Which was like heartbreaking because you were going and I was like, what happened? Like, then I really had to get out of there. Yeah, because it was time.
It was time.
Yeah, time is time.
The season was over.
That's very true.
So that was the life-changing experience that I have with my Maddie.
Yeah.
Tell me, with all that's going on, I remember you when you were going through your divorce. It was painful at first. It was, we couldn't accept it. I'm like, Maddie, how are you going to raise these kids by yourself? It's a hard job, girl.
I was already raising them kids. I was like, this is a real fool.
And then one day, this is when I know I'm like, okay, it's really over. One day you walk in there and there was a song, Cosette Michelle. We always bust in a song.
Yes, we always bust.
Blame it on me. I'm done. Whatever it is, I'm taking full responsibility. Yes, I did it wrong. I did it, whatever it is. and you start singing that song. I'm like,
I
oh
was
my
serious
God.
about leaving that man. No one knew how serious I was. My parents didn't even know how serious I was. I was so over it. And not that he is a bad person, because he's not a bad person. He just wasn't the right person for me.
you.
Now, who the right person is, I don't know. But it just wasn't him, you know. So I was definitely over it. I was married 7 years, you know. When I met you, I think I was like 28, so I had been married already for a really long time, and, you know, just felt like I lost a lot of life experience. 3 kids, house, car, mortgage. What do I know at 28? Like, I even tell my kids
You
that
were
now. I
doing
be
it.
like,
You were doing it.
my kids look at me like, I'm a person first. I am a person first. You have to consider that. Like, we all have feelings, just like you're a person before you're my child. I have to consider your feelings because, you know, we don't take that in consideration. And I was just so over him.
I like that. You are a person first.
Yeah.
So you identify as what first?
As a black female, as a woman, then I can identify as your mother. Because
Do you know some people lost themselves that they don't know who they are behind motherhood, behind somebody's husband or wife?
no, I didn't have that luxury because at the end of the day, I still had to take care of my children. So I couldn't get lost in basketball, football, your school, this, that, and the third, because I still had to show up at CHOP. And then at some point, I started running my business inside of CHOP. I was selling houses and working at CHOP at the same time. So I was basically running a business and, you know, working a full-time job. So I had to really compartmentalize. I love when you say that. Every single thing. When I came into CHOP, it was like, hi, we're here. When I was selling houses, I'm like, oh, I'm the realtor. Then when I got to those parent-teacher conferences, I usually had coffee and I was his mother or her mother, you know. But it had to be like that in order for me to be successful, because
And then
it
you
was
party
just
like a
me.
rock star.
And then there was a couple nights where, you know, where you party. I was still young now. I still party. I
Yes.
still party a lot. I still go out a lot with my friends and family.
If you were to advise people coming up, like a 28-year-old person coming up that's looking this life that you had, what would you advise them?
I would tell them that, like, don't look at what I have and what I'm doing now, and take for granted everything that has happened, because we're laughing and joking, but there was a lot of nights where that ex-husband of mine like would not help with his children because he was just very angry, and I would just remember, I tell you, I locked myself in the closet and cry. So you're going to have a lot of hard times, but it's how you deal with those hard times that'll get you to the good times. And they're coming, they are coming, but you still gotta persevere through them, and you can't hold on to anything. You got to treat it like water, just let it run. Treat it like a river, just let it run.
Right.
Yeah, because when you hold on to the anger and the pain, or this person hurt me, or this person said this to me, the only person you're hurting is yourself. So you got to learn how to let things go fast.
You've told me many times to let it go.
Fast though, real fast.
You still mad about that? I'm going to eat your food.
I'm getting your food for sure. And then I'm going to call Michael and ask him to make me some chicken. Girl, that was yesterday. Yeah, you do. You gotta let things go real fast.
And
real
then
fast.
Somebody was leaving and they having a party for them. No, somebody got their master's degree. You remember that?
Who was
They
it?
were having somebody, we're not gonna name names.
Okay. We have named a lot of names already, so it's okay.
Somebody was leaving and they had the master's degree, they had a party, and then I'm all mad. I'm not going. I didn't get a party with my master's degree. They didn't get your cake. We're going to go over there and eat the cake, and says, how come my sister didn't have a master's degree party?
Because it was cake too. It was food.
It was cake.
Yeah, why would we go over there and waste a good cake? We're going to go over there. We're going to get ourselves together, and we're going to walk right over there. We're going to eat this cake.
Make me sick.
Yeah, you gotta let things go fast. I mean, even just to go back to the vitiligo, like I said, that was like started in February. So I think that picture came out, I want to say like March or April. I was just really determined just to face it. And like even now, I go to treatment twice a week so that my forehead is, of course, not as highlighted as it was as my neck, but I really am going to have to make a decision on how long I'm going to do this before, I no longer, have all this beautiful mocha color. But, I'll have a different color. But my credit score is going to be better. I'm determined to tell people that. But I am going to have to make a decision on like how long am I going to do it before I'm just going to have to really, like I said, just let it go, face it, and just kind of, work through it and go through whatever phases I have to go through to get over it. Or not even to get over it, just to live with it.
That's how you deal with a lot of things in your life. You just want to deal with it heads on. I remember, that was a good one. I was laughing so hard. I remember, when we have these jobs and we have these kids, these teachers, they want to see you in the parent-teacher conference. They want to see, all the time they're calling Madalyn. He didn't have a pencil. You went and got a whole case of pencil and drop it off at the school and says, don't call me no more. I have to work.
Not only don't call me, don't you ever call another parent again about a pencil. Do you have enough pencils?
To have all the children in the school. I said, Madalyn, you bought a case? She said, I bought a case of pencil. I don't want another call.
I bought a case of pencils and I asked that teacher if she had enough pencils for everybody and don't call another working parent again about a child who does not have a pencil. And if she needed anything else, please feel free to call.
I could never, because I never thought about it to do that to any teacher. When you did it, because my children are older than yours.
Yeah.
I should have thought about that then.
Yeah, I was serious. I mean, I was very nice. I wasn't rude or anything, but sure. I meant it. I'm like, you keep calling me about a pencil. But not just don't call me. Don't call no one else. Do you have enough pencils?
The beauty of the unsung sheroes that you are. You always looking out and uplifting others and helping people. Else. All around you, you're helping people, and that's what I admire about you.
That's sweet, because I admire all of this about you. You've always been the one like to take the next step. I'm like, oh my God, Irma, what is she doing now? Irma wrote a book. Irma, oh my God, Irma. Irma is amazing.
When I called you, I said, Madalyn, you didn't buy my book. She said, girl, I have the book. I said, how come you didn't send me the picture?
I didn't like my hair. Now, mind you, when I look back at that picture, I didn't have vitiligo at the time. I was like, girl, you was cute.
You were looking good. I said, my girl with my book.
I was looking cute.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, but that's a good story. I did tell that teacher, don't bother no other person.
No other parents.
That was true.
You spoke for all of us, and I appreciated it. I think I touched a lot of my, just in conversation.
That was it.
I think I'll touch all of them.
I thought you was going to hit me hard. You ain't asked me about my dating life.
Well, yeah, that's what I meant to ask you. How is dating feeding into all this? The children, because I remember they were little, now they're teenagers. Yeah. Juliana just graduated
18.
High school.
Yeah, she's 18.
So how does dating fit into all this?
I don't really know. Like, I'm casually dating. I don't want to say this on camera and get a whole bunch of phone calls, but if someone calls me and say, would you like to have a glass of wine? Would you like to go to dinner? I will go, even if I don't necessarily think that the person fits on my list, just because I feel like you never really know what's going to fit. But a lot of people don't call or be like, oh, I wish I would have asked you. I'm like, well, you should just ask. I mean, I wasn't doing anything. I would have went out. But the kids themselves, like, I don't know. Like, I guess they find it weird. Of course, the boys find it weird if I'm talking to anybody.
Of course.
Yeah. But I'm not dating a lot. I'm kind of dating one person, maybe. I'm not sure. You have to ask them.
You touch on women's health for a minute.
Oh, yeah,
You touched on therapy. So I hope you're getting therapy for your dating situation.
I need therapy for my dating situation more than I need it for my women's health.
But one thing we need to think about, I think in talking to you, I picked up that how you had to really stand up for yourself when the doctor's telling you this is what you need to do, and you says, no, this is what I need to do for my body. Can you tell me a little bit with the IUD that was supposed to come
Is
out.
that can I tell the whole story?
Please, because we're helping people with your story.
So,
And drink some wine. Cheers to women health.
so I had like some form of endometriosis where I was just kind of bleeding for a significant amount of time, and I had an IUD placed. And before I had the IUD placed, they didn't really know why it was happening, and none of the doctors could really tell me why. So they kept doing all these different procedures, and then eventually I had the Mirena IUD placed, and it stopped the bleeding. But like what I said previously, I believe that it caused the vitiligo because it was almost 3 or 4 months once the IUD was placed that the vitiligo started. So it was almost like side by side, but all the doctors say there's no science to prove it. So I had the original IUD taken out, and then I decided that I was just going to go ahead and have a hysterectomy. I'm a very honest, candid person. So I went in to talk to my doctor about having this hysterectomy. And I was just like, look, doctor, I'm not married. I still want to have a healthy sex life. How is this hysterectomy going to affect my sex life with my future husband? I'm not married, or anybody I might want to have sex with. At the end of the day, I mean, I'm single, right? And she basically was like, there'll be no side effects. Everything will be fine. So I joined a Facebook support group for women who had hysterectomies, and I would just log on and read their comments and try to, figure out, how people were dealing with having a hysterectomy. And at the same time, you have to remember, by now I have already been consistently bleeding 8-9 months straight.
Wow.
After have had that experience the year previous, so we're going almost like a year and a half, almost 2 years, where like I'm bleeding, I'm not bleeding, I'm bleeding, I'm not. So of course I'm not dating nobody, right? So, but I'm trying.
Of course.
Let me say that again. I am trying, right? I'm asking this doctor every day. So I joined the Facebook group, and it was a lady in the group, and she was like complaining that since her hysterectomy, her vagina wasn't, I guess, as long as it was before, because her husband couldn't fit all the way into it. Okay? Yeah, so I mean, that's the best way I can explain it, because that's what she was basically saying.
So it shrunk.
Basically, it shrunk. So
some people would like that.
Well, good for them. So she said that, it got smaller, and she was constantly complaining. And so people would talk about their positive experience, and then this one lady would come back and she would say, hey guys, I'm sorry to really, come back to this, but is anyone else experiencing this? So I was like, oh, she's stressed. I got on the phone, I called my doctor, and I was like, so I'm in this support group, and this lady's talking about how her vagina, is a little smaller, landing area. I don't know how to explain it, than it was before for her husband. He can't get all the way in. Is that something that could happen? And the doctor, she's like, it's a small chance once they remove your cervix, but it is a possibility. And I said, woman, didn't I tell you? I'm trying to meet a man and have a healthy sex life, and you just told me that you're going to shorten my vagina? And she was like, well, I'm just saying you would just have to be okay with that if you're going to have this hysterectomy. And I was like...
First of all, you're not supposed to be okay with having one, right?
This is what I said to her. I said, you and I had very candid conversations about sex. Like, I came into your office like, look, it's been almost consistently, like I said, a year and a half on and off again, bleeding, no real relationships. I want to have sex. So why wouldn't you mention that to someone who's just like, hey, can I have sex tomorrow?
You know like, I have to pull sex out of people, not Madalyn.
No. Look, I'm like, look, can I try this thing out? Like, okay. So she was just like, well, you have to be okay with that. And I was like, well, okay.
Can you be, so you're just supposed to be okay with it?
No, I wasn't. I don't know about everybody else, but
the doctor's suggesting that you're okay with it.
Yeah, so what happens is if they remove your cervix, and when they give you a hysterectomy, they remove your cervix to make sure as a woman you don't come down with cervical cancer, even if you've never had any irregular pap smears. So yeah, so she was like, well, we cannot remove your cervix. I was done with her. all her suggestions was over, and my sister gave me another doctor, and we started the process all over again with this particular doctor. And I won't mention her name, but I walked into her office and I said everything that I'm saying to you right now, and I was like, and I need to have sex, so how can you help me? And she was like, she thought it was the funniest thing in the world, but she gave me all of these different solutions before you even have to come to a hysterectomy that the other doctor's office did not share. Like, she gave me a lot of different steps. So we kind of started that. I mean, I just had surgery last Monday. Yeah, so we called that the surgery to get my vagina back in order. Like, it was out of order and then was working again. So I had to put a sign out. So there's so many other steps that you can go to, just depending on how serious your illness and your condition is with endometriosis or with anything. But if you have to have a hysterectomy, you have to do that. But if you can take other steps to avoid it as a Black female, I don't suggest that you do it.
That's the thing. Last night I was watching a comedy show. What is the lady's name? Wanda Stites.
Yeah, I love her.
And she was saying that there's an opioid thing going on with white people now. They taking these drugs. She said the reason why we're not, it's because they think that Black women can hold on to pain,
Wow.
we can walk it off. And she's not the only person. She jokes about it, but it's a very serious thing for Black women not to have the care that they need.
They won't tell you everything. You really have to over-investigate it, research it. What I found going through so many different issues in my 40s, because 40 came in like, boop, 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 boop. Like, you know, I just found joining support groups, like not even taking the doctors out of it and asking them all the questions, but going to the people who are dealing with the issue. Like, I'm in several vitiligo support groups. I'm out of the hysterectomy support group. Girl, I canceled that. I was like, boop, no longer. I'm keeping my vagina, you know?
Thank God, Madalyn is skipping her vagina.
No, thank you. But just like joining support groups, and there's so many of them now because of social media, blogs, and actually going to people who are
good to know.
That are suffering, or not even suffering, but living with these conditions. You're going to get better answers because your doctors are only going to tell you what to do after the surgery or what to do, you know, medication wise. But people who are living with it are going to tell you, hey, maybe you should cut this out of your diet, maybe you should walk more, maybe you should drink more water, try this. They're going to tell you how they felt and how they're dealing with the condition. Go to the people, not the doctors.
That's good to know. Even with mental illness,
Yes.
a lot of women, especially in the black community, a lot of men and women are suffering
Yes.
with depression.
Yes.
Church people say you need to pray it out.
You do.
Pray it away. I remember growing up, if you cry too long, your parents would tell you, I'm about to give you something to cry about. If anybody needs to be crying, it's me.
And they was not lying.
And they were not crying.
Being an adult, I understand that way more. You crying about all kinds of stuff.
So we don't have the support at home because we need to be strong.
Yes.
We need to keep going.
Yes.
We need to take care. It's good to know there are support groups. I wish I had thought about it to go to a support group when I'm going through something in particular.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
we do need that because what other people that are dealing with what you're dealing, they give you, it's a whole different perspective.
Yeah, it really is. Like being in some of the vitiligo support groups is one of the reasons why I was able to take the mask off and be like, look, I'm not wearing makeup. This is what I look like. I'm not going to cover it up because people were so sad. Some people were so sad. I just wanted to call them and be like, look, if they don't like you anymore, then they're not your friends.
That's it.
But, you can't really say that to some people who are really, really in their feelings about certain things because then they feel like you're judging them or you're not hearing them. but you really go to the people. Like if you have any, I promise you, join a Facebook support group, a blog, and you don't always have to participate. Because some people are a little shy about sharing everything that's really, I'm not, but some people are a little shy about sharing everything that's going on with them. But just read some of the comments and you're going to see yourself in any of that. I promise you. I saw myself in the women who were about to get the hysterectomy and not really sure. And I didn't want to have any more children. I got my tubes tied when I was 28. So it wasn't like you're no longer going to be able to have kids. It was just like, how are they dealing with it? I was trying to figure out how people are coping with, that's a major loss for us as women. Then also you have to keep your ovaries if you can in order to have a healthy sex life. People don't tell you that. If they take your ovaries, then, you're not going to really have a healthy sex life because your body's not going to tell you. Your body's not talking to you, like, hey, you're ready, things like that. You'll be on different medication and stuff. But go to the source. With anything, go to the people. Get a large support group, thousands of people, read their comments, ask questions, and really see how people are dealing.
And this is a place of no judgment. A lot of people worry about that.
Yeah.
Because if I talk to somebody who's not going through it, they're like,
no, they don't know what you're talking about.
They don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
they don't allow you to feel what you're feeling.
Yeah, even down to like my sister, she was like, oh, I forget that you're going through so much. I didn't even realize, that you still had because you just kind of keep going. And I'm like, I kind of keep going because I got everything going on. Like I can't, like I said, I can't dig a hole and cry because then I wouldn't even be here with you. I'd be like, girl, I can't cry.
Come on, Maddie, let's put some clothes on and let's go talk about it.
And drink some wine.
To friendship. That's my support system.
But depression is serious in our community, and we need to take it serious.
We do need to take it serious.
And if you need to take medication to help yourself, you need to take medication to help yourself. And a lot of my doctors has prescribed me all kinds of stuff as I was going through so many changes. Like I said, 40 and 41 have been like, whoa. Me personally, I'm big on exercising. Don't judge me. I'm about to get back to running marathons. But I usually just kind of go to the gym and run. I was doing Muay Thai for a very long time. I could really beat some people up. Yeah. But that's kind of my therapy. But I found that very young when my mom passed away.
I remember you did the walk for your mom.
I did the walk. I did the big climb. Right when she passed away, I just was like always in the gym. I was running like 3 miles a minimum on a treadmill, and then riding a bike for like 22 miles, and then lifting weights, and then leaving the gym, and then laying in my bed and crying and starting all over again every day. But it was the way I healed myself. But everybody has to figure out what works for them. And if you are in a place where it's really bad and you need to medicate, then you need to medicate. If you can find if knitting, if, sewing, if, painting, whatever it is that kind of relieves that pain for you, you need to figure it out. And stick on that path and know that's what it is. And when you start to get those blue, sad moments, just go back to what makes you feel, whole again, whatever it is. The word is first, but,
And, to when I realized you had some spirituality in you, I'm like, oh my God, this girl is going to be one hell of a woman.
I don't know.
And you are one hell of a woman. What I like about you, like I said, is the fact that you always sharing. Sharing.
Yeah.
And there are some managers that would have information.
Wouldn't share nothing. Yeah.
You told me, Irma, you need to have your money working for you. You'll be on that phone doing your stock, your bond. I said, oh my God.
Yep, I be watching the stock market. My money be working, we be working.
And you said, I just made $1,200. I almost made $10,000. Oh, you drove me crazy with it. And I wish I had listened to you then.
Oh, yeah.
Now I'm trying to look into it and see if I can start trading. But it seems like it's a long process to learn. But
you know how you learn anything?
By doing it.
No. Put your money in it. Put money in it, you will learn it real fast. You'll stay for all night. You'll be like, where my money at?
That's good to know. You would share everything you know, everything you have.
Yeah.
You would go to a meeting and come back and says, "This is what I heard. This is what I do."
Yeah.
And people would go to their meetings and don't come back and share.
Nothing.
So you left unprepared.
Yeah.
That's what I enjoy about you, and this is why this is gonna touch the lives of everybody.
Yeah, I thought about doing a vagina monologue. Like, people get so tired of hearing about my vagina. I mean, let me tell you what my vagina did this week.
So I remember when you showed me your prom picture, which doesn't look so much different than what you look like.
Please, it's about 30 pounds difference, maybe 40.
Well, it's still Madalyn. My prom picture, people don't know it's me. Imagine that. So looking at that girl, even your baby pictures, the young 7, 10 years old, what advice would you give that Madalyn?
Start earlier, like, and have confidence in everything that you do, because sometimes people perceive what you perceive as being confident, and what I'm doing is like, hey, I have to do this because I have these children and I don't want them to see me fail, and I have to. And to people like you and other people, they think it's like all of this confidence, and it's just the fact that I feel like failure is not a choice. So like, I would tell my 18-year-old self, start early. You can do it. And that's kind of, just start early.
Focus early.
Focus early. And you can do anything you want. Because literally the things I've done, I would have never imagined I've been able to touch so many lives. I mean, even just in selling homes and things like that, I think the biggest thing I like, even just helping someone find their home or find a project or buy a commercial space, is when they call me back to ask for advice. Like, you bought that home a year ago. You still have my number in your phone, and you'll call me and ask me questions, and you still value my opinion. So I think, like, start early, know that you can do it. Fail, because if you fail, you will succeed. Like, don't be afraid to fail. I know people say this all the time, but like, oh my God.
I remember when my husband decided he was gonna, when he had his back surgery, he says, I have to change career. I have to do real estate. I remember talking to you about that. I said, here's his number.
I still talk to Michael.
Please help my husband. And you did so freely. And he went off and he got some stuff. You call, he says, if you want to pass this test, this is the thing. And I think I still have it on my phone. Let me send it to you to help you study. Yeah. I'm like, this Madalyn.
Yeah, because you know what? You want people to do the same thing for you. And I think we used to say this when we were at CHOP a lot, is that we have children coming in this world, and I want people to also help my children. So you kind of pay things forward. And honestly, someone else being successful is not going to stop my success. So what's going to stop me from giving you the information? Like, this is what you need to do.
People think if somebody else is thriving, is growing, that diminishes from them.
Not at all.
Not at all.
That's what God has is for you. Like I said, God has given you everything you need. You were born with everything you need inside of you. Everything.
If you can be still for a moment, you'll find it.
And keep moving forward, and don't allow people to control your temperature. That's important. Like, don't allow people to control your temperature. Don't allow them to rent space in your head. Whatever they feel about you is how they feel about you.
Now, one thing I needed to make sure we cover is how breast cancer had affected us very closely, up in our face.
Yeah.
Your mom started out with the breast cancer, but I understand that's not what killed her.
Yeah, she passed away from leukemia. So she had breast cancer, and she was in remission. When she went to go take the port out, which gives them the medicine as they're doing chemo and things like that, her body wouldn't heal, and her white blood cells started to populate a lot, and it caused leukemia. So they found out that they overtreated her with the chemo, which caused the leukemia, which eventually is the reason why she passed away.
Wow. And my husband, 1% men
1%
get breast cancer.
And it was my Michael, right?
It was Michael Wilson. Of course, he came up with breast cancer.
Wow.
So I called you, and you kind of run me through what to expect.
Yeah.
It's a difficult thing to watch these people, to watch your loved ones suffer so much.
Yeah.
The chemo takes a
lot out of them.
A lot of
And it takes a lot out of you as someone who's caring for someone who is, you know, trying to live with some sort of cancer, because you can't help them. You can only help them up to a certain point, but you can't help them. And honestly, you have to want to live. Like, people have to have that real fight in them to really want to live and persevere through certain things. And some people do and some people don't, but we just got to be mindful to make sure that we're doing our screenings, check boobies. Shower's the best way.
Shower's the best way.
Yeah, soak them things up, grab them.
Do you, moving forward, and I'm surprised she didn't just grab them.
I was going to do that. I was like, might be too much. Grab them.
Too much.
Grab them, you know? Yeah, make sure you check it.
So the openness, the openness with your knowledge, with your wisdom, is what makes you my unsung Sheroe.
Oh,
I love you.
I love you too, Irma.
Thank you. Hi everybody, Coach Irma here. Welcome to my channel. Please like, subscribe, and hit the little bell below so that you can be notified when I have new content. I'll see you soon. Thank you.